context, and that is that the United States has been historically a low-tax, low-spend, but very high-growth nation. That's one of our keys to our success. And these three programs that we've been talking about, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, are poised to change all of that as baby boomers begin to retire. Now, we all on the panel agree that there are no easy answers here, but we can sort of break down the choices into three categories. And I'm going to talk about those to help you understand the magnitude of the problem. Now, the first choice is for us to do nothing, to keep on spending, and us, of course, is Congress, not you and I, but to have Congress keep on spending and keep on borrowing. And if this were to happen, we would see deficits in the future as large, relatively speaking, as the entire federal budget today. And what would that mean if interest rates started to increase? Just a very, very minor increase in interest rates of like 1 basis point would literally cause spending to go off of the charts. We would really see a fiscal meltdown. So that's why we're here to talk about it with you today. Now, no one is seriously proposing such a solution, but unless we have real substantive discussion by our leaders in Washington and our candidates, then that is the path that they're tacitly endorsing for us. And we can do better, and that's clearly unacceptable. So we've got two other choices here. The second choice is to look at the tax side. And let's just remember that historically taxes have been about 18.3% of the economy. That's right about where they are today. And if Congress were to solve this problem solely through taxes, we would see taxes climb from this 18% level to 30% of the economy over the coming decades. And that would pose real problems when it comes to the future of our economy, for growth, for wages, for jobs, for opportunity. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, that's 2/3 higher than a burden we face today. And when you think about tax rates, all tax rates would have to triple, nearly triple, in order to make that. That's obviously not going to happen. No one's proposing it, but again, it gives you a feel for the magnitude of the problem. The third choice is spending. Now, because it's so politically difficult to talk about these problems, to talk about these three programs, I'm going to just set them aside. And if I do that, one of the things that I like to do is to return to the vision that the Founding Fathers had for this nation and for the federal government, and look to the functions that are constitutionally laid out. And those that aren't laid out in the Constitution, maybe we ought to think about eliminating them. These are just hypothetical illustrations to help you think about it. But I'm going to start with NASA. Now, I love space exploration. I think it's exciting, but it's not a function of the federal government. If we eliminated NASA tomorrow, that spending line, it would barely come down. So we've got to make other big choices. Let's add to NASA 4 and 8. Let's add pork barrel spending. I think some of those are really good things to do. If you do them, the line comes down just a little bit more, but we still have huge fiscal imbalance ahead of us. In fact, if you were to eliminate the entire Department of Defense tomorrow, all of the Pentagon, all of our military services, and by the way, defense is a core constitutional function. If you were to eliminate it, it would not solve this problem over the long term. So it's clear that we can't nip and tuck around the margins. We really need to be tackling these tough problems of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Now, you've heard some solutions already talked about. By and large, I agree with most of them. But sort of my take on them is I've got 4 recommendations. The first thing is we need to change the way Congress spends your money. We need to have tough limits set that are unbreakable, and we need Congress to be able to have the tools to make priorities in an efficient way. We need to revisit the social insurance programs. As you've heard, they aren't sustainable. We need to protect today's retirees and those people who are close to retiring, but at the same time modernize the programs so they meet the needs of future generations without undue burdens on them. We need to encourage personal retirement savings, both for savings and insurance and long-term care. And we do need to reform the tax code. Now, the way that I would go about it is a little different. I would make it certainly simpler, I would make it flatter, I would make it growth-oriented so we continue to have strong growth, and I would ensure that we